All right, guys, welcome to the script section. And also, congratulations, because you're more than halfway done the course now. Very excited for everyone who's made it this far. Let's go ahead and dive in and talk about scripts. Now, quick reminder before we fully dive in is that we talked about this already in the prospecting and the lead generation section that only 2% of sales that are made when the first contact actually convert, only 2% of sales. Yet most agents feel failure if they don't convert on the first contact. And remember, guys, the math simply works against you if that's your mindset. So instead of looking for a sell in your script, you need to be looking for an okay to talk to them again. And also ending the script with like a promise for you to do something. Okay. Just a quick reminder before we dive into this section and you start making your calls. Now, this is how you qualify your leads because I know that's probably the big question. Okay, Monique, you keep saying we're gonna make these calls, and you're probably like a little bit nervous about this section, but it's actually a very simple dialogue. We're gonna qualify your initial list of people and convert them into your working database of people. By now, you should have started to build up a list of about 150 to 200 people. And for some people, it's going to be a much higher list just depending on where you're at with your business. And yes, guys, you're going to be picking up the phone and dialing because that's essentially what the phone was actually initially built for. Remember, using it for what it basically was built for, initially designed for, right? Was to make phone calls. So we are going to do that right now. So this is the script, the mayor campaign dialogue. You'll be calling each and every person on your database and you will qualify them. So let me zoom in real quickly. Actually, let me turn off my camera so I can zoom in and read this to you guys. And this is actually one of my favorite scripts, the mayor uh, campaign dialogue, because honestly, it's so easy and it honestly doesn't feel like a script at all. And that's the great part about it. So, what you're going to do is going to call your immediate network and check in with them, see how they're doing. You can always start off with questions, and we're going to go over this part. So, if you don't understand what the Ford method is, it's okay. I actually have a section, a couple slides coming up, was going to talk about the questions that you should ask. But essentially, we're going to do the Ford model: family, recreation, occupation, and goals or dreams. It's really up to the individual's dreams, goals. Could be the same difference, right? So that's the questions you're going to ask them. And typically, in return, most people will ask you how you're doing, and also they're going to bring up real estate in general if you're already in real estate. If you just got into the real estate business, you're really going to be introducing that you're now in the real estate industry. I'll have a script in there. I have a bunch of scripts that you guys already can see that's uploaded that you can download and use. But the main thing is no matter what script you start off with, you want to ensure that you end the conversation with this initially. So, agents, if you're new, you're actually letting them know that you're in the real estate industry and you're in the real estate business. And you definitely want to ask this question, when you let them know. You also want to say, hey, by the way, or oh, by the way, if you were buying or selling a home or had a friend or a family member who was, do you have a real estate professional you would refer them to? And you just listen to them respond. Okay. And then another way you can phrase this, it just depends on your conversation, how you're approaching this, is that I'm just curious if you were buying or selling or had a friend or a family member who was, am I the real estate professional you would refer them to? So you can use that if you're an experienced agent and you've probably made some calls to your database, some of these people already, but you never really qualified them. Okay. So that last piece right there is really qualifying them. So if you're a new agent, you could just let them know, like, hey, something as simple as, hey, so and so, just letting you know that I'm now in the real estate business. And then you can just say, by the way, if you were buying or selling or had a family or friend or a family member who was, do you have a real estate professional you would refer them to? And you just listen to them respond. And if they say yes, that's great. It's important that you have a qualified professional to work with you. And that's essentially, you can, if you want to continue talking, that's okay. Or if you want to kind of end the call and move on to the next person, that's fine as well. You want to keep these conversations short. Just remember that I always say like 5 to 10 minutes or less, as much as possible. Because again, you don't want to call them in the future and they won't pick up the phone because you end up talking to them for 30 minutes or an hour. So that's the reason why you want to kind of keep it as brief as possible. Um, and if they respond no, then the best response is, I'd like to be that person. And from time to time, I come across valuable real estate information that everybody finds helpful. Would you like to receive that? Most people do not say no. Majority of people actually say yes or sure. I mean, because you also putting in their air by saying, I come across valuable information that everyone finds helpful, or most people, whatever word you want to use. But when you say that, you're essentially kind of training them to already say yes, because everybody else is doing it. So you should too. That's essentially what you're saying when you ask that question, when you phrase it that way. Okay. So just keep that in mind. And again, I have even strangers or leads that I do not know, they've never really said no to this. Um, when you ask them the question, just curious if you were buying or selling or had a a friend or a family member who was, do you have a real estate professional to refer them to? The only times they've said, I couldn't proceed on with the rest of the question is if they already had somebody. They said yes. And that's when you say, that's great. It's important that you have a qualified professional to work with. So you don't come off, bitter or anything like that. But long story short is that most people don't really say no when you ask them, would they like to receive that valuable information, because it's valuable. And that's the key right there. And you say everyone finds it helpful. It feels like, they're missing out. They don't want to miss out, right? It's that fear of missing out kind of syndrome thing going on. Now, you want to collect their phone number. So you just say, okay, awesome. What's the best number to reach you at? Is this the best number to reach you at? Because you already are calling them. They may say yes or they may say no. And if they say no, then you just ask them for the best number to reach them at. And the same thing with the email. It's the best email to reach you at, and also your mailing address as well. You want to say the best email, best phone number to reach you at, best mailing, not best mailing address, your mailing address. So you want to kind of phrase it that way because you don't want people to essentially give you, I don't know, an old or a bad email. Again, they've already agreed to it. You've qualified them at this point. And yeah, might as well get the best email and ask them for it. So hopefully that was helpful. This is a casual, cool convo, guys. It's not even really a full script, but I feel like it's great. You can even use this when you're out and about. So just keep that in mind when you are doing these scripts. Now, I'll also provide you guys with some example videos of this entire dialogue. I know we just went over, I just said it out loud, but I actually have some videos when I actually made some calls to some online leads, some old online leads, and I was actually able to convert them using these dialogues. Even was able to collect some emails and also mailing addresses with this mayor campaign dialogue. So it's a really good dialogue. It works for your cold market and of course your warm market. Typically your warm market is much easier to use this dialogue on, but sometimes it's not as easy to use it on your cold market. So I was able to get some amazing recordings with some other agents I was training and coaching at the time. And it was pretty powerful. And they were able to witness it, like these conversations I was having with a cold market. So I made sure I did it with the hardest market out there for you guys, just so you know that you can do it with your warm market pretty easily if you take the time to practice and really, internalize these dialogues and come from a place of wanting to truly help them out. So be sure to rehearse, memorize, and internalize your scripts. The delivery of dialogues in any situation is most efficient and effective when it becomes a habit-induced skill. To accomplish this, practice your dialogues daily for at least 30 minutes each morning. The following exercise will help you internalize your message so that you can stay focused on a customer and their reactions and not on the words you are saying. So be sure to read the words 4 times to yourself slowly. Then read them to yourself 10 times as fast as you can. Then read them out loud 4 times slowly. use body language and tonality, and then read them out loud 6 times as fast as you can. Then read them once as you would like to deliver them, and repeat these steps 1 through 5 twice daily. Okay, guys. So this is an exercise. This is your homework. You should be doing this a couple of times. So whatever scripts that you guys get from this course, so the mayor campaign is number 1. Make sure you go ahead and take these steps that I'm talking about right here. Do this. And then other scripts that I will be giving you, ensure that you do it with the other scripts as well. This is how you really truly practice your scripts. Okay. Take a moment now to review the scripts, and take at least like a week to practice the scripts in the mirror without looking at the paperwork. So make sure you take those steps first and then do this as well. Then find an accountability partner. This needs to be turned into a natural dialogue for you and not a script anymore. So not just this script, but any scripts that I provided you. And if you get scripts from other places, like from your broker, from your coach, or your mentor, be sure to take these steps as well. This works for any scripts, okay? And remember, the difference between an amateur and a pro is the level of practice. We have to continue to think like we are like athletes or any type of entertainer, like an actor. They practice, practice, practice. Athletes practice before they get on the field. You don't want to fumble the ball or, mess up on a client that could be potentially $15,000, or even, $1 million client that could be like a $30,000 commission check, right? So think about it that way. Each person that you're calling is potential for large commission checks. And also they can also refer you to people that can essentially bring you large commission checks. So you don't want to practice on people. You need to practice with your accountability partner, even like a mentor, or hire a coach, or maybe a family member or friend. That could be your accountability partner, and of course another agent at the office. So that's the way you need to be thinking about this. So take a moment now, review the scripts. I also will insert my video that I used the mayor campaign on. I'll insert that video. So take that time to start to review that as of right now. Okay. So go ahead and do that. And I'll see you guys in the next section, the next script section.